Hello friends, I'm back. I wanted to cover another topic today. I wanted to talk about masturbation. Don't laugh, but it's very important. And I don't think a lot of people masturbate enough, or well, or at all. I truly do believe there are some chicks out there who really haven't explored their body. I'd like to believe that most men do. I think just, it's out there. Boys kind of touch themselves even as little kids without even meaning to. Girls are a little different. We have a lot of shame projected into us from our parents, all out of goodness, all out of the desire to keep us safe. But that fear that is put into little girls, the overly cautious, there's a lot of garbage that goes into the brains and minds of little girls, and I think that's why a lot of women have problems achieving orgasm or truly opening up sexually, because they have all this garbage, static, if you will, in their mind, all these thoughts and things that they were told, and it goes kind of almost against or up against to all the things they feel biologically, just by nature. Sometimes they don't match. Sometimes the things you're told and the things you feel don't match. It's because not all of our elders know the best. Now, they always have the best intentions for us, but there probably might be different ways that you could educate young girls about their bodies without making it seem like their genitals are bad or wrong or don't smell right or are dirty or are to be hidden forever and ever and ever. And yes, we're definitely not supposed to keep that stuff out in the open, and definitely less is more. But I think a healthier take of teaching children might help women as we develop, because there's so many girls out there who just don't enjoy sex, and they probably are stuck in their heads, So, masturbation. I think I probably masturbated a little bit as a child. I definitely remember doing that. People who think that children can't feel sexual energy, wake up. We feel sexual energy at all times of life. It doesn't matter if you're 1 or 2 or 72. Sexual energy happens, So I don't think I masturbated. I think as a child, some. I think as a teenager, not so much. Certainly in my young 20s, no. Isn't that weird? Maybe once a year or twice a year. Nothing plentiful. I think most girls, we don't really have, our libido, we don't wear it on our sleeve kind of thing. We can be dormant. Like, we can let the energy be still. And unless we have a love interest in our life, it doesn't flourish. It doesn't rise up. We can, I don't know if the word is suppress, but we can let it rest. We can let the sexual energy rest and not even think about it. Have it never cross our minds if we don't have something or someone to bring it out of us. Now, that's kind of a general. There are some exceptions to the rules. Certainly there are some females who absolutely adore sex. Love it, can't get enough. God bless their partners. How lucky are they? Hopefully those girls have a great partner. I can only imagine some of them may not, So, the ebb and flow of life. So with masturbation and sensual massage, I kind of think if you're going to be a sensual massage therapist, or if you're going to just be a spouse and work on your partner, if you don't know your own body, it's hard to explore another's bodies, because sexual energy is that. It's energy. And when you're using energy and you're working with energy, it's a delicate balance, you know? So I'll just tell you a story how I learned about myself and how I applied it to my work. I was told in my mid-20s by an acquaintance that I would never make it to France, that I would never make it to Paris, and that was just never going to happen for me. Well, I have to say, I'm just the kind of person you don't say that sort of thing to. Don't tell me I'm not never going to do something. If I really want to do it, it's going to get done. So this girl told me I was never going to make it to France, might as well just abort that dream, and 6 months later I landed on French soil. Okay, I completely shifted into hyperdrive, completely overworked myself, didn't even know if that was physically possible, but I made it happen. And I was 26, or just turned 27. I think I just turned 27. And I took my sister who was 16. I needed to take somebody with me who could empathize with my eating style. I am a vegetarian, so I needed someone who's gonna be okay looking for stuff that I could eat also, along with what, you know, other kinds of French cuisine that needed to be sampled while we were there. I had an epiphany when I was walking in Paris. You know, I was along the river, La Seine, and I just had this awareness come in. And it dawned on me as I'm looking at all these beautiful structures. I just love architecture. I love art. And buildings to me are art when they're sculpted beautifully. No doubt, Paris is definitely a feast for the eyes. So here I am having this feast for the eyes, and this epiphany comes that I'm 27 years old and I've hardly had any orgasms. Like, no, like none. Like, I couldn't even remember when the last orgasm I had. So that was mind opening. And so with this little epiphany of realizing that I have hardly had no orgasms, and yet I have given so many orgasms to people, obviously with just my fingers, hands, you know, sensual massage, but still helping others with their orgasm. And I hadn't had almost any that I could recollect, you know, that I could recollect. And then it dawned on me that there is something really wrong with that. That's not okay, right? So when I got home from France, we were there for 10 glorious days, felt like 20, like each day felt like 2 days because it's so long, you know, the sun stays there so long in the summertime. When I got back from France, I went to a toy store and I decided to go on a catch-up mission, right? It was time to catch up. I am 27, I've hardly had no orgasms my whole life just yet up until that point. Let's catch up. Obviously, I'm starting to becoming, you know, closer to the 30 mark. I truly do believe there's something about girls in their 30s, women in their 30s, or, you know, you kind of start feeling more as you go around the sun a few more times. So I went to a toy store and I bought 2 toys that I could obviously switch off. You know, variety is the spice of life. And I went on this serious makeup mission to even the score, if you will. I don't know if I could ever do that, but I definitely tried. And there were days where I would be surprised. I mean, certainly my energy was shifting to where I had sexual energy to release. Years prior, I had been such an emotionally damaged person. I turned that dial so far off, almost like I couldn't feel any sexual energy from anyone, nor did I have any interest. I'm going to say I was completely asexual for a lot of years. Made it extremely easy to be in the industry. When you're asexual, people can bribe you and... what's the other word I'm looking for? People can try to get you to do all sorts of things. When you're asexual and your dial's turned off, it's off. Nothing's going to happen, you know? So that was a saving grace, I guess, for me. Probably one thing that kept me safe, has kept me safe, working as just a sensual massage therapist. So, anywho, on my catch-up mission, as I'm 27 at the time, I definitely had a current of energy that needed to be given some attention to. So there were times that I would even be like 3 times in a day. I think there was one time I even used my toy like 5 times in a day. Totally shocked. And still almost shocking at this point because I don't have currents like that. That I don't know if I could do it 5 times in a day. Maybe if I had the right person. Anywho, I'd like to back up a few steps and say with masturbation, and if you do bring in toys, you know, there's so many varieties of toys out there. I particularly, my whole life have never been into the penetration toys. It doesn't do anything for me. A clitoral all the way. So these are just little clitoral stimulators, or even if it was a vibrator, I would just use it against the clitoris. It wasn't like it was being, you know, never sat on it kind of thing. I'm sure down the line, I definitely, after I warm my engine up by days and weeks, definitely I think I use the toy for the penetration part. But I don't like, the toys are icky. I don't like the materials they're made out of. I think they smell weird, and I don't want that stuff up inside me. I think I'm allergic to some stuff. I could be sensitive. I don't know. I'm really particular with a lot of things, especially a toy. But nonetheless, if you use them on the outside as a clitoral stimulator, totally fabulous. Now, one thing with, and I hope I'm not trying to make this too long, I'm going to try to brief it up as much as possible. One thing I learned and I noticed about the vibrational stimulus against your clitoris is that if you use it a lot, you kind of become used to it, right? I mean, this isn't news to a lot of people out there. A lot of you know that the more you use these toys, it almost like it deadens your sensitivity, right? So for me, getting out of the gate as far as going on a catch-up mission and starting from square one, a toy just on the outside of, you know, the hood and stuff, that was a perfect place for me to start. And then once you realize, you know, that, and I don't know if this is true for all people, but I would find like my little happy spot kind of shift a little, not far or much, but just enough where you kind of have to rotate the toy a little bit or press on a different area that's close but not right where you were to get a better sensation or to, you know, go over the edge. So once I realized, I learned all these little secrets of turn the toy this way or let's try that spot for a minute. Something else came in, an epiphany that I want to share with everybody because I don't think everybody knows this, because I don't think a lot of people have masturbated to the point where they get to learn these things, right? So there is a point of numbing out. You can rub yourself so much or have the vibrational stimuli, whatever that toy's doing, be so much where it literally numbs you out. And the last thing in the world that's going to happen is you're going to reach a climax. How can you reach a climax if you're numb? You know, so that's important. That's important to know that there is a point where too much isn't good, right? Less is more. You're going to hear me say that a lot, almost every video probably, because less is more. So once I realized this with the toys and stuff, this is probably a few months in, I decided to abandon the toys, right? They were good for a minute, and I definitely learned a lot about myself. I can definitely do multiple orgasms. Did not even know that was possible. It can happen with the clitoris and a toy. I don't know. I've never tried with the penetration thing. I haven't had a boyfriend long enough. I think I did have a boyfriend a few years back. I don't think I ever had a multiple with him. You know, I think I was lucky just to orgasm, actually, which I did. I had real ones with him. There's no faking here. No faking, because that was another epiphany I had in France. I realized, oh my God, you know, I haven't had almost any orgasms. I need to catch up. And also, if I'm going to be with a man or a partner or something, and a lover, of course, someone I'm romantically interested in, if he gets one, well, I better get one. Absolutely, I better get one if he gets one. He can't have one if I don't get one. Like, that's not fair, you know? So that's a good thing to have in a woman's mind. Like, we should always be thinking of us, because let me tell you, boys are thinking of them, you know? And most guys actually love getting their woman off. Most men, healthy ones, they love turning on their woman. They want to, almost like a cat with a ball of yarn, like they want to just see how far they can take you, what places they can get you to. To see a woman extremely aroused is very gratifying for a man. Almost more gratifying than laying on top of her, just to see her in that state, because they don't get to see us in that state often. And I don't know, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but some girls, for whatever reasons, and the reasons are long list of reasons, we fake our orgasm sometimes, right? I definitely am guilty of that with previous boyfriends, before 27. Not that I had that many, but because I've always been in the industry, you know. But I did have a boyfriend here and there, couple that made my heart go pitter pat. Anywho, so probably the most valuable thing that I took with me as far as learning that you can numb out, okay, that is possible. And there is a point of too much stimuli, and that's when less is more. So fast and quick isn't always the way. It can be a way of raising energy and building that energy, but I find that slow and concentrated, slow and soft, slow and sensual, that's kind of the place where most people, flourish. If I want to get a client off fast, I go extra slow. It's just something about slow. I've had people pop quick, seconds, and it blows their mind because they're like, oh, I've never popped that fast, Well, because don't ever underestimate the power of slow. So when you're masturbating, if you choose to explore your body, and I sure hope you do, in your own personal space, with just yourself, with no shame or guilt, get to know yourself, get to know your body. Here's another thing, a little pet peeve of mine. Now, this question was asked to me way early in life, and probably most girls, right? Have you ever had a guy ask you, so tell me, what do you like? Right? A lot of guys ask that. Like, boys want to know what you're into. They want to know because they want to be able to have that little bit of a secret information of how can they help assist you. What do you like? So you can kind of help lead them down that path, and maybe they'll find the target better or quicker, or, it's just helpful to have some navigation or a little bit of a map. What I find, and it's true for me, when I was asked this question as a late teenager, when I had my first love, who I almost married, and I was with him for almost 3 years, he would ask me, what are you into? What do you like? And I had such the typical answer that probably most chicks say, and this is what it is. I don't know. I don't know, right? How frustrating must that be for guys who genuinely want to know how he can help his woman feel good, and she comes back with, I don't know. Talk about like a dead end kind of conversation. It's really sad. And obviously I know for the girl, let me tell you, I get it. When you're saying I don't know, there's a lot of embarrassment in there. There's a lot of uncertainty. It's a very personal question. And if you don't know yourself, if you haven't taken the time to learn your body and learn yourself, then you would have no input to give to your lover. So there are viable reasons of why masturbation is good and positive, and there's nothing negative. It's you on you. Who's better equipped than to learn your body than you, right? It's a beautiful phenomenon. Now, I'm not saying quit your day job and masturbate all day. I'm not saying you need to go masturbate 5 times a day, like happened for a small, brief moment, and that probably is only like 2 days of my whole life where that kind of thing happened. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that in appropriate times, when you feel an urge, it's okay to explore your body, okay? So by doing that, it empowers you to empower your lover. You can have better conversations with your lover. You can get more direct towards the goal rather than being a gal who, you know, has her man not knowing much and you're never getting off, you know, which isn't fun. That kind of, I don't know, it probably would make it not as enjoyable, is if he was on the money, if he was on the ticket, if he's on the spot, the golden spot, you know, the magic button. Or whatever. I mean, there's magic buttons inside too. I'm not that familiar with those. Everybody talks about it. What is it called? The G-spot? I don't know. I'm not like that. I'm more of the outside, you know? So, anywho. But isn't that great? I know that. And the other thing I know about myself, well, probably I don't need to tell you all the things I know about myself because some secrets are good. But I can tell you this. Having learned that you can numb out, if you were to do this to your lover, like give him a hand job, probably even a blow job or any kind of job, if there is a point, I mean, if a girl can numb out, a boy can numb out. Plain and simple. And I have been working on clients where it's just taken freaking forever, or who knows what's happening. Maybe they're on medications, which is a sliver of what's a component of what was happening. But I have been able to detect that my person is numbing out, you know? And that's an advanced skill set right there. To be able to sense and know that the rubbing is too much. It's time to lighten up. You know, it's time to go softer. Or maybe it's time to quit. I mean, there is a point where it's not going to happen if you rub it out too much and it's too numb. It's, you know, it takes time for the sensitivity to come back. So you can invite the sensitivity to come back by going slower, or you could just give it a break and come back a few hours later, another day. But if you're doing this for your husband or your boyfriend or what have you, and you are working extra hard and it just doesn't seem like any reactions are happening, like usually before a man's ready to climax, things get a little stiffer down there and, you know, you can tell the energy is rising. If the energy isn't rising and you feel like you're doing all the magical tricks in the world with your hands and fingers to get it to work, maybe you're going too fast. Maybe you're squeezing too hard. No, hard and fast, some people like. There's some people who just love it and need it hard and fast. But I have discovered in my experience that those people are not as abundant as the ones who enjoy it slowly. Okay, those are the people who, most people are in the, we like it slow and sensual. So anyways, masturbation, definitely I found to be liberating. It taught me about myself. It opened up my mind some, and it gave me insights to others. So being a person who works on others, it's nice to have that insight and awareness. I remember one time I had mentioned to someone that I thought he numbed out, and he's like, I did. And I could tell that he was shocked that I knew that. You know what I mean? Because I think there could be some providers out there who are unaware of that and might just keep going harder and faster, thinking that they're just going to squeeze the life out of it. But no, they literally are squeezing the life out of it, and it doesn't want to play anymore. You know what I mean? So there is a balance, and the only way you're going to find that balance is by exploring yourself. So that's what I have to say about masturbation. It is not a bad thing. It's not an icky thing. There's nothing to be shameful about it. It's obviously a topic not a lot of people can talk about. So hopefully this video helps you. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment, and I'll try to address the questions in the most positive way that I can, or the most real way. What I want to do more than anything is be as real and genuine with this information as possible. I have no reason to hide any information, so whatever I know is all for you. And I'm going to say thank you, and I hope you found this video helpful.